So to take it back to the Jordan 4-5 jersey and stuff, I could literally remember I grew up in this neighborhood in Orange County. It was like condos. Um, and it was a huge development, and each like section would have their own kind of like basketball court, community pool type thing. And I would spend most of my days playing basketball, um, wear my size 40 or 36 4-5 champion jersey, right? Hooping, doing a little swimming. And then when I would go home to get, eventually my mom would be like, we don't want heat exhaustion, like go sit in the house for a little while, right? So if she was at the pool and I would come sit at the house, MTV would be on. And what first caught my ear and my eye, I remember watching MTV, and it was Killing Me Softly. The Fugees version came on, and I remember like hearing the beat and just how I felt. And that was one of their R&B records, but then like I heard Fuji La and like the hip hop fusion to it. And I remember showing Killing Me Softly to my dad. Like I just discovered the craziest thing. And he's like, no, Roberta Flack did this song, but he's like, I got to give it to you. Like, I love what they did. He's like, I actually like this version better. So like my dad admitting that something that came out in the 90s was better than his version, I was like, I'm onto something. So I, kind of delved deeper from there and got into, your Biggie, your Nas, like, and then it became underground stuff. But the reason why basketball and hip hop are always, I mean, they're super intertwined, period. But for me, my personal journey, they're my two like loves, So like I played basketball up until like varsity age, and then kind of fell out of favor with the coach. And looking back as someone that became an educator is not someone I have too favorable of a light on. And I'm not going to get too into why, but like, um, I didn't like that whole situation. And I always loved basketball, but I was like losing my enjoyment for playing it at that level. So I'd experimented with hip hop and the freestyling and things like that. But when I decided to quit basketball, I definitely needed something else to like fill that void and that catharsis. So I started writing and doing it myself. And one of my close friends who produced for me later on also was doing the same thing. And I became really passionate about it. It became my outlet. You know, when basketball used to be my outlet, like making music became my outlet. And I really gravitated towards hip hop because I was always, I became an English teacher later on. I was always immersed in like the reading and the writing and in that kind of expression. So it was very natural, the poetic connection and the ability to like just in my basement on a 12 track, make music by myself where I could express myself. And I didn't have to wait on a band. I didn't have to, I played with bands later, but like, yeah, when I was young, it was a way I could just pick up and go and like escape and kind of drift off. And um, yeah, but I later on now, I mean, I've made songs that the titular songs, Go Westbrook was the song I did, kind of just about going all out. I had a song, just another story, but a song I did called Like Kobe.
Yep.
I actually made that song before he passed.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I did some work with his company, Granity. I was distributing their books, which were like it was like a almost the Wizarding series. It was like basketball meets Harry Potter, and I started like I had just left teaching full time, and I was still trying to do stuff with the schools, which I still do now, but in a different capacity. And one of those things was getting some books to reluctant readers because his kind of vantage point was like if I could take things like something like basketball and then add like this wizard element to it, it's kind of two check marks for kids who might not love reading to get into. So I remember talking to them on Instagram, them sending me a bunch, being like, sure, like pass these out in Baltimore schools. They sent me a case of the books. I went to the schools, I passed out the books. And I was just super inspired by his journey after basketball and just the fact that he already was getting award-winning film work and all of these things done. And it spoke to the fact that like, Kobe was as much as we call him this Jordan clone, and Phil Jackson has spoken on this, like, was not quite the athlete Jordan was. Like, there was a few like great athlete, but not like Mike level athlete. The reason why he got close was because of his work ethic. And like when he applied that work ethic to something else, he not coincidentally got to an elite level. So like that was kind of the light bulb moment for me, that it's like your approach and it's your work ethic. And like that's that killer instinct. And that's what that record's about. So when what happened, that tragedy happened, we sat on it for a while, and then we did, when we decided to release it, we decided to make a music video. The music video has this whole narrative of a father and daughter like hooping and stuff, and like it that was more of a tribute, but the song was more of a nod, and like so it was a tough thing to navigate, because from when it was completed to when it was released, what happened. But I always like to tell people that in my correspondence on Instagram, as hands-on as he was, I would like to think I was communicating with him at some point there. And I'll never know for sure, but whoever I was talking to was sharp and fast, and I don't know. Like
I
I'd
bet it
like to
was.
think I was talking to him. Yeah.
I bet it was. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I could see Kobe doing that. I just see him being hands on like that.
One can pray, man, but that is a whole obviously I didn't mean to like breach that topic when I was talking about whatever, but obviously for any of us, that is the a singular that's the when the music died, right? Of this generation. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is never gonna make sense. This is never gonna be okay. I still think about it, and I remember when it happened, I like literally wept like it was a family member. Like that was the worst thing. And it wasn't just him. Obviously, it was his daughter who like hadn't gotten to live her life, and who knows what she would have done for the women's game. Like
Yep.
she was an
Oh,
amazing,
it was incredible.
so that will never be, but that's yeah, basketball is always super intertwined with what I do. I dropped another single recently called Wilt to Still. I'm always like doing these nods to players, and they'll always be intertwined for me, but it's the same journey. The roots of it are from those outside in the summer, and I was hooping, or I was in the AC watching music videos, and it's that formative time, that era, that early to mid 90s, which not coincidentally is kind of viewed as the golden era of both by a lot of people. So I'd
Yeah.
like to think that it was kind of born out of that.